Hey everyone, it's Leigh Diprose here and Warrewyk Williams from Fujifilm Australia, and we are the
Aussie Fuji guys.
That's it. That's it.
Although that's copyright.
Yes.
Billy and Greg.
Yes, check out their channel. They've got some awesome videos, but hopefully not as awesome as this video, because we've got the product, and that is Warrewyk, and also the camera. We've got the X-Pro2 and also the X-Pro1. We're going to do a bit of a test.
Yes.
To see which one's better. But tell me, Warrewyk.
It's a bit unfair.
It is a little bit unfair, but they're both great cameras. But
Yep.
I want to know, what's the standout feature of this camera compared to the X-Pro1?
Well, I think for me, the standout feature is the new sensor, the X-Trans 3 with 24 megapixels, much higher resolution and lower noise, believe it or not. Fujifilm has managed to create certainly a better quality and higher resolution picture. And that X-Trans technology is just awesome.
Right.
But
So,
the other thing I've got to mention, built-in diopter.
Oh.
No more screw-in lenses.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well, I think there's only one way to test these two cameras out and see which one's better in low light and
Yep.
see the performance of this sensor. So I think we'll head out in the rain today.
And it is raining.
Yes, and we'll make sure that we get some shots. Try not to get this one wet because it's not weather sealed.
But the lens is.
But the lens is, yes.
35 f2.
mm, f2, yep. So let's go and let's get started. So Warrewyk, we're now at Darling Harbour here, and it is absolutely a gorgeous day, as you can see. Not too much cloud around.
Yeah, post tornado conditions.
Yeah. So I just wanted to have a quick chat about these two cameras because I know that your viewfinder is much better than mine. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, they are a little bit different. You
Yep.
lose the trademark X-Pro1 feature, which was as you change some lenses, so the actual viewfinder magnification changes.
Right.
But what you do pick up, of course, is a built-in diopter, which you don't get on there.
Okay.
And you get a series of bright frames that
Right.
very clearly highlight the subject matter that you're shooting,
So that's-
dependent on the lens that you replace.
So that's why they call it an advanced multi-hybrid viewfinder,
Yes.
as opposed to the hybrid
Yeah.
viewfinder? Okay.
So people that have used the X100T would be much more familiar with this design. It's
Right.
got the little pop-up focus window,
Yep.
which, by the way, you can actually do your digital split image in colour now, or black and white.
Wow, okay.
So that's something new.
Yeah.
And that operates the same way as X100T, with another little twist.
Yep.
The pivot point of that lever on the front there is actually a button.
Ah,
Now
okay.
you press that button while you're in the optical mode,
Yep.
and you can actually see your bright frame is shown in the viewfinder.
Yep.
Now, in actual fact, if you pull and hold that lever,
Yep.
it actually changes the eyepiece magnification and gives you another set of
Right.
bright frames in there. So
Okay.
it'll cover all your lenses.
Now, Warrewyk, I'm moving this one this way, but I notice I can't move it this
you don't
way.
get that.
What is that? Because you
Well,
can do it on this one.
On this one, like the X100T, push the lever in the opposite direction, and that's when you get your little pop-up focusing window.
Oh,
the
great.
little digital rangefinder.
Yeah, so that's going to give you like the 100% focus
Yes,
assistance.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fantastic. Well, that's cool. Let's move on to the next feature, shall we?
The next feature.
Warrewyk, I can't keep my eyes off this beautiful camera. Compared to mine, it's just a huge change. I'm noticing, obviously, that shutter speed and ISO dial, but there's something I notice that's similar, and that's the function button.
The function button, yes, is same place, same name, but while the X-Pro1 only has one function button,
Get out.
this has 6.
Okay.
Now, for people using XT1s and XT10s, you might be thinking, oh, well, I've got a lot more than that.
And they do. They've got
And
some of them 6 or 7.
Yeah. And, well, you don't have the My Menu option that's on here. Now,
Get out. Really?
So, yes, you've got your 6 function buttons, and you also have your quick menu, which is programmable, so there's 16 options there.
Yeah.
But then you can actually create your own menu, accessed by pressing the menu button.
Yeah.
So, and one of the options in your menu system is My Menu.
And what does that do?
So you can create 16 options from the menu of your own. So
Wow.
things that you may commonly use or things that you want to have in your own menu that are quickly and easily accessible.
Great. So in total, with all those different settings, how many different configurations can you have? Like,
so far as custom functions, buttons, Q menu, my menu, there's 38 different options there, and you've still got your 7 custom modes that you can create for your colour as well.
And you can compare that to 1, and obviously the 4 years that have passed, the 5 years, this has made a hell of a difference.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that.
It's the flagship model, so it needs to be the flagship model with the flagship options.
Okay. So if I push you in the water now, does that mean I get to keep the camera?
No, I'll probably take the camera with me.
Okay. Well, we have to part ways now. All right. So today is turning out to be a lovely day as we stroll along this promenade here at Darling Harbour. What's another feature on the X-Pro2 that stands out for you?
Well, I suppose one of the things that's not so obvious is the new shutter mechanism.
What is the shutter mechanism?
Well, the new focal plane shutter mechanism, the mechanical shutter.
Really?
That's in here.
Okay.
Of course, we now have the ability, like XT1 and XT10, to select between mechanical or the electronic shutter.
Yep.
But they have actually changed the focal plane or the mechanical shutter mechanism in here to be faster and smoother.
Awesome.
Hence, I guess, how they get the 8,000th of a second top shutter speed on here.
Which has been added compared to my mere 1/4000th of a second, which doesn't really cut the mustard when it comes to sport shooting.
Sure.
Yep.
But even when you take the photo,
does.
you actually it feels different.
Yep.
Even, and look, the X-Pro1's always had a really nice classic camera feel to it, as does this. But the shutter on here, I don't know, just somehow feels better, more advanced.
May I have a hold?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Wow.
And you notice
I'm really noticing that grip.
The grip is much better if you want to use the camera single-handed too.
Yeah, I feel like the camera's lighter as well.
Yeah.
But it still maintains that solid build. Capturing a scene like this, obviously you've got a bright sky. On this camera, I would do sort of a HDR sort of a shot where I'd bracket my exposure to ±2.
Yep.
On the XT1, I could do ±3. What can you do on this one?
±5.
And how do you do that?
Well, not as obvious as you might think. You've obviously got 0 to 3, or plus or minus 3 on the dial, but there's also a C setting.
Okay.
If you set that, then the front command dial,
you
can actually wind beyond the plus or minus 3 and actually take it out to plus or minus 5.
Wow, so now you can get those really great HDR images that a lot of landscape photographers were asking when they first had this camera. I've got this beautiful scene in front of me, X-Pro1 in my hand. When I go and change my focus point, I simply press the down arrow and I can scroll to the focus point I want, make it bigger and smaller. Can you do the same on the X-Pro2?
Yes, you can. Very much the same way, with one change. Rather than using these menu buttons, you actually use the new joystick.
Okay.
So by pressing the joystick button, you actually get your focus points shown on the screen.
Yep.
And something else while we're talking about focus points, you can in this have a choice of 77 focus points, or if you're in the single point focus mode, you can actually go up to 273 focus points.
Wow, and 169 of those are actually phase detection in single point?
In single point, you've got 169 phase detection, and in the 77 you've got 49 phase detection.
That's pretty impressive. And to control it, how do you use the joystick?
Well, very simple, as you would expect. Move the joystick from right to left, up, down to change the position of that. And you can, again, use your little thumb wheel or the rear command dial here to change the size of your focus area.
Easy.
So it is in a better position, I think, than even having to take your fingers down here, the thumb down here to use the menu buttons.